A show created by the fans, for the fans. We are your home for Ohio State football coverage all year long. The Scarlet and Gray Podcast, a Network 216 production. Live weekdays on the Network 216 YouTube channel. Send us all your questions and comments on Twitter at @VSG_podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Tyler Johnson, Jordan Dalton, and Nick Leisure.
Hello, Buckeye fans, and welcome to a special episode of the Scarlet and Gray Podcast. I am Tyler Johnson, joined by Mr. Jordan Dalton. JD, my man, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Ready to do another great interview with another great true freshman that's coming in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited about this one. I know this is going to be a great story, but of course, before we get to our guests, just as a reminder, guys, if you would just take a quick second, as always, drop a like onto that video. Really helps the YouTube algorithm grow when you like the video. It's a free process. Same when you subscribe to the channel. So we're trying to reach 3,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and it's completely free to subscribe. So subscribe if you are brand new to our show, but also to Network 216. And of course, as always, we are proud to be a partner with Homage Athletic Apparel. And right now, if you're a brand new customer, just go to homage.com and you get 15% off your first order. Or all you have to do, you enter your email address online, subscribe to the emails, 15% off your first order. It is your go-to for all vintage athletic apparel. That's homage.com. And we are joined by one of our newest, I believe, JD, it actually is our newest Ohio State Buckeye. He is your new punter from Australia, Mr. Nick McLarty. Nick, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Yeah, doing well, boys. Doing well. Thanks for having me on the podcast. And it's going to be a nice introduction to everyone. So thank you.
Yeah, anytime. We're so thankful that you decided to join us and made the time to join us. We know you're very busy. I wanted to just start off and give you the floor. Buckeye fans really want to know your story. So you're now an Ohio State Buckeye. Tell us about this journey for you and ultimately what made you decide to become a Buckeye.
Yeah, no worries. So my journey started in December of 2022. In terms of starting as a punter, I transitioned from Aussie rules football, which I played since I was 3 years old, so 15 years. And sort of from there, I just worked with my coaches, Darren Bennett and Sav Rocker, two ex-NFL players, and sort of developed through the process for the last 15 months. And then obviously got the opportunity to become a Buckeye and took with two hands. So I'm really blessed with this opportunity and want to make the most of it. So that's it.
So what drew you to Ohio State? Was it the history with the Australian punters that we've had with Cam Johnston and Jesse Mirko, who's leaving? Is that kind of what drew you to Ohio State?
Yeah, no, definitely. The development of Australians is probably the main reason. They're also very good at bringing guys in that have had zero NFL experience and then develop them into AFL punters like Cam Johnson and potentially Jesse, depending on how he goes this season. But for sure, it's the development. And then obviously while joining the Buckeyes, as in going to the facilities and seeing how the coaches operate, sort of getting a glimpse through all that, and I loved it. So it's pretty incredible.
Was this your first time out of Australia, or first time in the United States?
Nah. So this is my third time coming to America for visits and seeing schools. But this is the first time this year I came over to have a look, and then obviously it was a pretty successful trip. So it's nice to go home with a scholarship and then get to work and obviously be back in start of June to start the season. So looking forward.
Absolutely love it. And one of our co-hosts, like I said, I mentioned to you before we had you on the air here, he isn't able to join us, but he has a great question for you. What drew your attention to American football? Like, what made you decide that this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I sort of fell out of love with AFL and sort of wanted something different, and I could use all the stuff that I'd learned from AFL and transition that into obviously a punter. I've got two coaches that played AFL and NFL, so the transition for me was easy because I had those two to sort of guide me through the process. And obviously my development was based upon their own experiences. So, and obviously big guys as well. Like obviously, which I only just found out that I'm the biggest bloke on the Ohio State team, but, which is kind of silly, but also it's kind of cool. But my coaches are 6'6" and 6'5", so they're not small people either. So pretty fortunate to have those two people in my corner.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no,
we just found out about you like 2 or 3 days ago. When you came to make
that's pretty. Yeah, I've sort of come out of the woodworks. No one's known about me, and then a couple of videos came out, and then it's silly, but it's a good opportunity, and just sort of make the most of it now. And it's cool having all the media attention and all that sort of good stuff, but. Obviously, I've still got a job to do, and I can't stuff up. So I just sort of got to make the most of it and keep my head down. So it's good.
The Ohio State fan base is crazy. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you guys are silly. I won't swear on this podcast because I don't want to get kicked off already. But it's intense. So you guys do it differently over here to Australia. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
So I do have a question. When they finally made your announcement official, we kind of went back, watched some of these videos that are on YouTube. This one, I have to ask you, where did you get the Washington Redskins helmet that you've been wearing?
Yeah, so because my head's so big, it's actually my Sav Rockers helmet. So Sav played at Washington Redskins for 3 years and then played at Philly for 3. So that's his actual game worn helmet. So it doesn't fit on anyone other than me, and I sort of make the most of it. So it's a big old bucket, and I make the most of it. So
I had it looks like a throwback helmet, and I'm just like, I wonder where he got it.
I've caught some serious criticism for wearing that helmet, but it's the only thing that fits. So, and I'm obviously not going to paint it because I think the bloke would shoot me. So it's all right.
So I got to ask, because your size at a punter, I don't know if we've ever seen before. So when you arrived on campus, I have to ask, did any of the coaches be like, can we get this kid on our side of the ball? Can we get him in our position group? Like, they're like, can we get this guy with us instead of kicking for us? Because we would love to have this guy.
Excuse my naivety, but there's the number one tight end, the number one starting tight end. I walked into the facilities and walked into the locker room, and coach is asking, he says, what position do you reckon this bloke plays? And he goes, maybe tight end, maybe O-line, maybe D-line. And then he goes punter. He goes, holy shit, that's a big punter. So it's sort of the same consensus overall. But I think everyone's sort of pretty stunned. I know the internet's pretty stunned by how big I am, but I think that's my advantage, but also my biggest disadvantage because, you can cover a lot of space and all that. But if you get it right, you get the technique right, there's a lot of power. So, good fun.
So with Australian rules football, I'm also very naive when it comes to the game. I know it's very similar to rugby in some aspects. There is the kicking aspect, which is why it draws a lot of punters to the game. And it's more about accuracy with your kicks in terms of distance and getting it between the goals. It's almost like you're kicking a field goal with a punt. And so how much of getting the punting aspect of I'm trying to hit a certain spot on the ground and pin the ball rather than just going straight distance? Is that like something you had to work on or you're currently actively working on?
In terms of the drop punts, the drop punt was probably the easiest thing to do for me just because coming from an AFL background, we're trying to hit people. So it's like a QB throwing a ball to a wide receiver on the outside. Like we can do stuff like that where people can lead and we can hit them on the run. So we've always been able to do that. In terms of doing that with a spiral, it's different because how your ball turns over, it lands in a different position, and obviously you got to get the hang time and the distance and all that sort of thing. So that was probably the biggest part for me, is trying to get the spiral to land where I want it. But obviously the drop punt, because I've been doing it so long, and same as all the Aussie guys, they can say the same thing, that it sort of comes pretty naturally. So yeah.
So I have to try and go off this same topic, but I remember when Cam was punting for Ohio State, he kind of had that rollout punt. Is that kind of your style? Do you like to roll out with the punt and kick, or are you more of a standstill kind of guy?
So sort of, I'd honestly say that in terms of my best punts for hang time distance and all that would be spirals, for sure. Obviously, it's probably not as consistent as my drop punts just because I've been doing them for the last 15 years. But in terms of that, it would definitely be my spirals. But obviously, the rollout is what we do all the time in AFL. So it's not really anything different for us. It's just trying to get the op times right and making sure that our blockers actually block and we don't get killed. But it's pretty and you have the awareness from AFL as well. So we're pretty good in terms of there's always people trying to come at us and tackle us and all sorts of things. So the fact that they're actually 15 yards away or 14 and a half yards away is actually probably more space than sometimes what we get in AFL. So that's sort of an advantage as being an Aussie, but for sure.
So this is a fun question for you. Of course, everyone has seen the video, the viral video on Twitter of you kicking it like 90 yards. I believe it's 90 yards.
Yes.
Is that the furthest ball you've ever kicked? Or are there ones you've kicked further that there just aren't videos of those?
No, I've got videos. I've got videos of me kicking in the rain and hitting a 75 yarder plus LOS, which was 90 yarder in the rain. I've got another one in Utah where I hit a 5.5 and it was about a 80-yard ball, which I've got on video. And that one I put over the fence. That was the second time I did it that day. The coach said, "Oh, I bet you can't do it." And I hit where that sign is. I hit it, and then 3 balls later, I put it over. And then he says, "Oh, I bet you can't do that again." And then I've got the video of me actually trying to smack balls over the fence. I think it was 4 or 5 balls later, I put it well and truly over the thing. So there's like a lake behind it, and it was in the lake, so it wasn't great. But it's sort of the outcome, but that's all right.
So you have a missile launcher for a leg.
It's the benefits of being 6'7" and 55. You can generate a lot of power, but obviously it's got to be used smartly in a game sense situation. But if you're backed up in the end zone and the coach says put it into the parking lot, you know what to do. So it's good fun.
Love it. Well, Nick, what is one thing that you want Buckeye Nation to know about you? Maybe a fun fact, interesting fact. What is one thing you want Buckeye Nation to know about you?
Oh, fun fact. Well, today was the first time I went to Kane's restaurant. So I had that for the first time today. So there's an introduction. But other than that, I've got no idea. But Kane's.
What'd you think of it? Let's get your review. What'd you think?
It's actually pretty good. I got the what did I get? I could get one of the boys. There's some chicken tenders and some.
It's all they have is chicken tenders.
Yeah, so 2 pieces of toast. The toast was bloody awesome.
Yeah.
So,
dude, what's funny is like there was one time because my wife and I were going through a drive-through. We were in a different state, but we like needed to stop somewhere because we were on like heading on vacation and whatnot. I was like, I'm gonna try their chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
What they don't tell you, okay? And maybe I just didn't read the menu, which is probably likely. I wasn't paying attention. But the chicken sandwich is literally 3 chicken tenders on a bun. That's their chicken sandwich. Like that's how much they are involved in chicken tenders. So. Yeah, they're not very creative in that.
Yeah, one of the guys here who's the snapper who was at Alabama and now transferred, who was trying to teach me how to like get the toast and put the fries on it and then put the tenders on it and then put the sauce on it. By the end, I had this sandwich about this big and just trying to take chunks out of it. But I've sort of got a good introduction to American food, and I've already got into American barbecue, and I think if I might actually eat my way to O-line or D-line, but. I just got to be careful over here that you guys do it differently. So it's very, very fortunate. So
I got one more question for you. Okay. So do you follow any NFL teams? Like who's your favorite team, favorite player?
So my first ever game I actually watched fully was the was the Super Bowl last year, Philly versus Chiefs. Not Chiefs. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Chiefs. Anyway, so yeah, that was my first game, and obviously I had Sav, who was a Philly guy, and I sort of started going for them after that game. So yeah, I would say Philly. Plus, I have all the merchandise because Sav just sort of handed it to me. It doesn't fit anyone else because it's so large, but fits me like an absolute dream. So just make the most of that, and yeah, so Philly all the way. Even though, yeah. Anyways.
No, we
yeah, exactly.
Hey, I got nothing against the Eagles, honestly. They're not in the AFC. We're Browns fans here in where we are. So yeah, I got no issue with the Eagles. As long as you're not rooting for the Ravens or Bengals around here, you'll fit in just fine. You'll fit in just fine.
Yeah, we'll keep it all under wrap. But yeah, for now it's go Ohio State, and yeah, no, I can't wait to see what happens out of the next couple of years, and hopefully this season we'll win a natty. But for now, yeah, just sort of keep my head down and keep training. So it's good fun.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And we'll look forward to catching up with you here, hopefully at the end of the season.
Nah, appreciate it, boys, and go Buckeyes.
Yep, go Bucks. Have a safe trip home, by the way.
Appreciate it. All right, you two have a good rest of your day.
Have a good one.
See you, boys. Bye.
Yep. That was Ohio State's new punter, Nick McLarty. JD, any final thoughts, man?
Nah, it seems like a fun guy.
Absolutely.
He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a fan favorite for sure. It starts burying 90-yard punts. I think we might be seeing him on the Pat McAfee show for the brand and all that fun stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see him just in workout videos before the season starts.
Yeah, man, me too. And I'm really not. Part of me is saying this jokingly, but part of me is like, wonder if we see a fake punt this year, because you got a guy that, I mean, let's be real. I mean, you could. He's probably a little bit of an athlete, I think. Big dude. Like, dude, I would use that as a fake punt. Why not? Let's have a little fun this year. But yeah, man. I mean, as we're wrapping things up, that was a great interview. We really appreciate Nick's time. Thank you so much to everyone that's going to, of course, end up checking out this video. But as always, drop a like, subscribe if you are brand new to the channel. We are going to talk to you guys all again very soon. And of course, as always, go Buckeyes.